Could this quite possibly be the best value knife that money can buy? Possibly. Now we all know this is a Spyderco, and well, you've all seen the title of the video, so you know what knife it is, but I think we should check it out. So what is this awesome value knife that you're talking about, FIMAT? Well, let's have a look at it, shall we? We have ourselves a really nice looking Spyderco box, you know, typical Spyderco standards. It is good. You can just make out their Paramilitary 2, sorry. GL, not too sure what the GL stands for, in all honesty. You got yourself the Spyderco trademark round hole, reliable high performance, refined ergonomics, and you know it's a superior blade steel, and they're referring to the CPM S30V blade steel, which I will talk about in more detail later on. And I'm also going to talk about all of these points as well. Golden, Colorado, that's where Spyderco are based. The knife itself is made in Colorado as well. It's not made in China like a lot of knives. What have we got here? Don't really know. Spyderco Paramilitary G10 talking points about this. Let's find out a little bit about the size, the weight, and so on. Okay, now closed length. That is, let's just line this up right. We're looking at okay, 4 and 3/4 inches, which is awesome. Okay, you're looking at just under half an inch in width. Now the blade itself, if I open it up, now you've got some people who measure the entire length of the blade. I prefer to measure just the cutting portion of the blade. Now the cutting portion itself is, if I bring it up, just over 3 inches. I think it's like 3 1/8 inch, which works out to be 7.8 centimeters for us Brits. Now, looking at the blade itself, it is a full flat ground blade, which is one of the biggest benefits of Spyderco blades, really. Okay, not all of them are full flat ground, but the reason I picked the Spyderco blade, amongst many other reasons, was the fact that it was a full flat ground blade. Now, what are the benefits of a full flat ground blade? Well, cutting ability, slicing ability. If you've got a hollow ground blade, I don't know if I've got an example of one. Yep, I've got one here. So here is the cold steel Voyager. The previous generation one. This is a hollow ground blade. So what you can see is you've got a flat portion here, and then you've got basically it curves in, and then you've got the actual relief edge itself just here. So this portion here is curved in, and what that means is it's a steeper basically it comes steeper up to the blade. I can't remember the exact terminology for it, but with a full flat ground blade, it's one flat all the way to the relief edge, and then you get a second grind angle that you can see glinting in the light there. Generally speaking, if you're just going to be cutting something that high, then this will be the better cutter. But if you're actually going to slice all the way through, then full flat ground blades are always better in terms of slicing ability. So that's a huge benefit. It does mean your blade will be a little bit heavier, but you know, it's a good trade-off. You get a lot more usability out of this than you do with a hollow ground blade like the Voyager here. Okay, now this is CPM S30V. This is crucible metals, and it's a very fine grain, high grade steel. Let me just focus in on the actual part where it tells you what it is. There you go. So Spyderco CPM S30V. This is different from regular S30V because obviously it's made by crucible metals. But what's the upshot of this? What does this actually mean? Oh, sorry, let me get rid of some of the fingerprints themselves. What does the fact, and you can see the grain structure there in the blade. Effectively, this is a very high grade steel. So this means that for you, the blade will stay sharper for longer. And this is a steel that can get hair popping sharp. In fact, I don't know if I can actually demonstrate it on camera. Now, I've been using this knife for a while. Okay, now it's not really showing up there. It is taking hair off, but don't know if it's actually coming up on camera. Let's see if I can show you some of the bit where it's shaved. It has shaved this general area here. Don't know if you can notice it itself is like a modified drop point blade. What you have here is it curves. You've got a flat edge here, and then you've got the curve edge, which comes to a rather delicate tip. Now, okay, a lot of people have said, oh, the Paramilitary 2 has a tip that's too delicate and it's broken off in use. Now, when you have a tip as delicate as this, you should use it accordingly. This is not a heavy, hard use knife. It's a knife that gives you greater degree of accuracy. You get greater penetrating capability. Obviously, don't stab this into car doors or anything ridiculous like that. It's not designed for that. But it gives you excellent, kind of like an X-Acto blade, a carving knife. You get great accuracy. You've got a fantastic tip on there. Some hair on my finger there. But you get an excellent tip. Now, I've had this knife for about a year, and I have not sharpened it yet at all. You can even see the original grind on the relief edge there, and it's still razor sharp. Let me find a piece of paper. So, you know, the traditional cutting test. I'm doing this on camera, so we'll see how this goes. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now that is very, oh, still catching a little bit. Now out of the box, this was super sharp, but I've been using it for a year, and it's held up really, really well. It's let's focus in on the actual piece of paper itself. So you can see it's catching a little bit, but still fantastically sharp. Okay, the blade itself features a 14mm deployment hole. Now this is larger than you get in a lot of other knives, larger than you get in like the Tenacious. And let me see if I can find something else for comparison. Okay, smaller knife, the Dragonfly, but yeah, so it's a larger deployment hole. So what that means for you is quicker deployment. So doing this on camera, you can see there, you can use your like middle finger, just kind of flick it open there. You can use your thumb if you want to. Super fast deployment. Just caught the table there. So it is proper sharp. Really fast deployment. Now, one of the big benefits of having a 14mm deployment hole is, let me grab a glove. Here's one that I brought. I want to move this stuff out the road actually. Put on a glove here. Now, if you're working outdoors, you want to be able to deploy this. Now, okay, you're not going to have as high deployment speed, but there you go. So you can see it depends on what gloves you use, but it's still pretty fast. Quicker than the camera can pick up, and you get awesome usability here. Now I'll talk about ergonomics in a second, but that 14mm deployment hole gives you a whole lot of options when it comes to deployment. You could even use your index finger, I guess, but there we go. So you can see I can get it, but I can't articulate my finger enough to get the blade fully open. I need to just pop it with my thumb there. But yep, excellent usability. And the compression lock here at the back, you can use the compression lock, and if you wanted to open it using the compression lock, okay, didn't quite manage it there, but there you go. So you can see it's a little bit, you need a bit of practice using a glove, but if I take the glove off, using the compression lock is much easier. So you can check out the compression lock here. Now, this compression lock is it's you know, a lot of people compare it with a liner lock. Let me bring this up close to the camera so you can see a little bit better. People compare this with the liner lock. Now the difference between a liner lock and this is, I'm going to actually bring, where's the Tenacious gone? Let me, oh well, can't find it. I've got a green Tenacious here as well. So, okay, so with the, this is not quite working the way I want it to. There we go, a bit better. Okay, so you can clearly see that you have this bit of metal here that does not exist in the Paramilitary 2. That's your liner there, and that's what locks. So you basically disengage that to allow the blade to come down, retract back into the handle, and when it goes, that's what locks. Now the difference between that and the Paramilitary 2 is the lock's on the reverse end, and people might be going, well, it's still a liner lock. You've got a liner which engages in place. Rather than engaging at the front, it's engaging at the back, at the spine end. What difference does that make? It's still a liner lock. Well, the difference is in the way it actuates. So if I let me bring this closer up and try and focus in on this so you can see a little bit better. Right, so I'm about to disengage this and bring the blade down. Now you can see in here, as the light catches it, let me use the Voyager as my pointing device. Right there, that is where the actual stop pin, this stop pin here, where it engages, and engages in this entire surface. So you get a much larger surface area for the stop pin to actually engage in, and as it comes, you will see this bar here pop out. There we go. So what's happened is now that bar has not just engaged linearly in one dimension, it's effectively in two dimensions. It's two separate areas where it engages. A bit hard to show apart if I don't take the knife apart, but I have no intention of taking the knife apart, so you'll just have to trust me on that. This is a stronger lock than the liner lock. Plus, safety aspect, if you're going to be engaging and disengaging this, let's just bring this back into focus. So if you're engaging and disengaging this, you have to bring your thumb in to the danger area, and you can see what happens there. It can you can have a serious issue there. So you want to just kind of disengage it a little bit and close it that way. With the Spyderco, engaging, disengaging, everyth's at the back. You have no risk of catching your finger, and that blade hits the stop pin, so it will not catch you from the reverse end. So effectively, you can keep all your fingers attached, which is a huge benefit. Spyderco have also employed an awesome bushing system on this. Now they've got, regular phosphor bronze bushings, but I should say that not all phosphor bronze bushings are created equal. Spyderco will have an ingenious system in here, and you can just I need something where I can kind of help point it. Sorry about that. If you look in there, you can just see a glint of gold between the blade and the handle material itself. That's the actual phosphor bronze bushings themselves, and what that allows you to do is, and they're larger than the actual pivot area, so with that larger pivot area, it gives you a reduced friction. So effectively, if I disengage this, you can see there's no friction on the blade whatsoever. Now that's an amazing system. It's superb, and that's what gives you that speed. So if you are in a tactical situation where you need to get quick deployment, you can do, and get the bad guy. Now with that compression lock, your lockup is solid. I mean, this is you don't get, if I try and show you, you have next to nothing in terms of blade play side to side. Up and down, no. Not a bit. I'm trying not to move my hands. I can't, but there is no blade play at all. And in terms of blade centering, now like I said, I've been using this knife for a year, and check out that blade centering. That is, whoops, let's focus on the background rather than the foreground. And again, it's still doing the same thing. So let's see if I can actually, there we go. I think it's working now. Perfecto. Look at that blade centering. Is that not perfect? That's after having used this knife for near enough a year. Just over a year, actually. Not many blades can do that. Let me bring up a Tenacious for comparison. What have I done with the Tenacious? There it is there. Now this has been used for 2 years, and do you know what? That's pretty good. Now, I've taken this knife apart a few times for cleaning, taking out blood, guts, what have you. But yeah, it still centers pretty well. That's a testament to Spyderco. And their ability. Now, the actual construction itself, if I can show you inside here, check out the handle scales which you can make out inside. Sorry, not the handle scales, the actual liners. They are milled out. This is not drilled out, I should point out, but milled out. And you can just make out the milling in there. Now, you can see the shadow there. You can make out the milling at the back end there, but it's much easier to see at this end. That's what makes this knife 3.8 ounces, which is 108 grams. That is a lightweight. Okay, I mean, compared to something like the Voyager, this is lighter still, and it's a bigger blade because it has no liners whatsoever. It's just a Zytel handle. But given the choice, I actually prefer having liners. It's a little bit of added strength. I'm not going to be using this knife in any hard press situation, but let's say I do need to use it in a tactical situation. Chop down a tree, you know, whatever. Having those nested stainless steel liners in there is a huge bonus. Now this knife is really comfortable to hold. The way they've designed the handle, you've got a 2-position hold on this. What you can do is hold it the way I am holding it currently, which is kind of like the laid back position, thumb against the thumb ramp, which as Nothing Fancy would say, has got an awesome gym ping. Yeah, and it does, it absolutely does. But you get really good grip. And the traction of the G10 handle, that helps phenomenally as well. The other position is for delicate work, where you can take your index finger, pop it in this choil here, and your thumb up there, and you're basically choked up. And what that allows you to do is do like fine, delicate work if you need to do. It gives you a huge degree of, you know, I guess if you were trying to skin an animal, but if for skinning this isn't the best kind of blade, it tips a bit. I guess you could utilize it in that use. I'd probably use something like the Kershaw Bear Hunter fixed blade. That's a better skinning knife than this. But it will do the job. It will do the job. I guess more for like whittling or fine woodwork. The choked up position, it gives you a great deal of control. I've got pretty large hands, so I find it a little bit cramped being up here, so I prefer to just have the laid back position. It gives me more real estate, and the handle's a good size. This kind of bump here, and that you can see in the tail end, that's not too bad. You know, it doesn't bump up against your pinkies. If you're doing any hard work, there's no real hot spots on your hand, so you're comfortable using how you need to do it, whether it be a thrusting motion, slicing motion. It's very, very comfortable to hold in that respect. Let's have a little look at the clip now. So if I close the knife back up, okay, now this is a standard Spyderco hourglass clip that you see in a lot of their knives here. They tend to have two pretty regular designs. One is the hourglass design, and the other is the wire, the stiffened wire pocket clip. Which do I prefer? Probably the wire clip one. It's not as substantial, so that may put some people off, but it is toughened and it's very, very hard steel. Plus, when you've got this in your pocket, that's what you see, and I'll be honest, that does not look like it's, obviously you're going to see the pocket clip sticking out, but the biggest benefit is that does not look like it belongs to a knife. It looks like a paper clip. That, people don't know what it belongs to. That Spyderco logo kind of looks like a knife to me. So I prefer having something like this over this, but you know, this is an awesome pocket clip. I mean, that's hard, and that's actually painful for me to try and lift up that way. That's a solid pocket clip. That ain't going nowhere. Another big benefit Spyderco do, which other manufacturers don't, talking about you, Cold Steel, is positionable to all 4 corners. So tip up, tip down, left or right hand carry, whichever you prefer. I keep it on my right side, even though I am left-handed. I'm more practiced using my right hand with knives, and I would say for knives it's my stronger hand, weirdly. And I prefer to keep it tip up, because when you pull it out using the lanyard, your hand is basically pulling it and you're already in that position, so you can just, you know, if you want to pull it out that way or flick it open, and then you're ready to use and whatever. This is a really cool knife. It's that Digicam handle scale, the G10 handle scale, which I should have pointed out. It's kind of like a medium high traction G10. It's not quite full on high traction the way some Cold Steel knives are, but it's really grippy. You ain't going to slip in that. If you're full of hands full of like water, like it's raining, or mud or blood or guts or whatever have you, you get good traction on this. So yeah, it's fantastic grip from that point of view. But anyway, it's a really, really cool knife. The way the Digicamo works is each knife is individual. No two knives are the same, so yeah, that's a huge benefit. They're a little bit hard to get now, the Digicamo versions. They come in regular black, the way you've got the Tenacious here, and yeah, I mean, in regular black it still looks nice, but yeah, it's better in Digicamo. It's a bit cooler looking from that respect. Durability. This is a really durable knife. Is it as durable as, say, the Tenacious, which is a substantially cheaper knife, I should point out? Probably not. Probably not. This is a heavier knife. Well, is it heavier? Yeah, a little bit heavier. It's got thicker liners. Not quite as milled out. It's different kind of blade steel. You know, this is 8CR13 MOV, which you can maybe just make a try on this one. Let's see if you can make it out. Focus in on this. Nah, it's not focusing. Who cares? Okay, it's 8CR13 MOV, different blade steel. In terms of blade steels, you know, I've already said the CPM S30V is probably my favorite. My second favorite would be something like the VG10 that you get on the Delicas and a lot of other Spyderco knives and other knives, what have you. I do prefer the ZDP 189 steel you get in the little Dragonfly. ZDP 189 is kind of like it's made by Hitachi in Japan. It's kind of a wonder steel. Well, is it a wonder steel? It's like I don't know. It's like a fancy steel. It's got really good edge retention. It's brittle though because of that, so you can chip it. But super expensive steel. For that purpose, would I get some? You know, that come in? Should that come in ZDP 189? Nah. CPM S30V is pretty much the ideal steel for this. Or CPM S35. You know, horses for courses, all pretty much the same. This cold steel is VG1. Don't know if you can pick it out there. Nah, not really. It's VG1 steel, which is a good steel, a little bit more brittle than the VG10 that you get here. Now, in terms of value, this is a pretty high value knife. That doesn't mean it's a cheap knife. It's I'll have a link to my recommended retailer in the description below, but I think I got it for about 120 quid, something like that, which a lot of people will balk at, and they'll go, "What? 120 quid for a knife? Are you kidding, man?" You get what you pay for. This knife will last your lifetime if you use it properly. Some people will say, "Well, so will a 3 quid knife that I get out of the supermarket. That'll last me a lifetime if I look after it." But you won't be able to use it in the same respect. It won't be as good. This is definitely you get the cool factor as well. You know, it's a gorgeous looking blade, as I've already mentioned. And competitive options. What do I say? Well, closest competitor for it would be the Tenacious, in my opinion, in terms of functionality, not in terms of price or value. So you can see they're pretty similar in terms of size, different kind of blade design, but a lot of people think of the Tenacious as a poor man's Paramilitary 2, and I would say that's a pretty accurate description. The Paramilitary 2 is a phenomenal blade in that respect. Another comparison would be, if I can find it, the Manix 2. Let me just open that up. Opening up the wrong way, but who cares? CTS BD1 steel, different kind of steel again, but really good quality steel. I've had amazing use out of this. Different price point again. This is about 77 quid. And if you're in the States, just change the pound sign for the dollar sign. You're pretty much looking at the same thing. Yeah, and that's, this is almost double the price. It's about 80% price premium, but you get more. I mean, I like both of them. That's why I bought both of them. But if you were only going to buy one, I'd probably buy the Paramilitary 2. The Paramilitary 2 is just this is pretty much ideal for, like I've already mentioned, tactical use. If you're a fireman, you're a police officer, you're in the military. This is an awesome knife. It's called the Paramilitary for a reason. It's an awesome knife for people who are in the military. If you're a paratrooper, haha. I would not say that you could get much better than this for military use. It's phenomenal knife. So if you have a buddy, this would be an awesome present, birthday present for a guy. Hey, for a girl, why not? It's on YouTube. I've actually seen a lady on here who's got all sorts of colors of paramilitary tools, and you know, awesome vids. So yeah,
what you saw.
Thumbs up. Please click the like button down there, hit the subscribe button up here. Please leave comments below, they will be greatly appreciated. I am going to be releasing a lot more videos in the coming weeks about these knives, other products that are coming up, flashlights. Yeah, if you subscribe, you'll get the next video in your sleep.